Chosen one, stop for a moment. Put everything else aside. Take a deep breath and listen carefully. Because there is something you need to understand about the season you are currently living through. You have been looking at certain things in your life and calling them failures. You have been looking at the delays and calling them setbacks. You have been looking at the closed doors and wondering why God isn't opening them. You have been looking at the things you lost and asking, why did this have to happen to me? Maybe you lost an opportunity you desperately wanted. Maybe someone you trusted walked away. Maybe a plan you spent months building suddenly collapsed. Maybe you worked hard and still didn't get the result you expected. And now, you are wondering if you are moving backward instead of forward. But chosen one, what if you are not moving backward at all? What if God is setting you up? What if the thing you call a setback is actually a setup for something greater? You only see the moment. God sees the entire journey. You see the closed door. He sees the road beyond it. You see the rejection. He sees the opportunity that rejection is making room for. You see the delay. He sees the preparation. You see the ending. He sees the beginning. And sometimes, the greatest changes in your life begin with something that feels like a loss. Think about the times when you thought everything was going wrong, only to discover later that something better was waiting. At the time, you couldn't understand it. You cried, you questioned, you became frustrated. But later, you realized that the thing you wanted wasn't actually what you needed. Chosen one, you have been trying to understand God's plan using today's circumstances. But you cannot judge an entire story from one difficult chapter. A chapter can be painful without the story being bad. A chapter can be confusing without the ending being wrong, and a season can be difficult without your future being destroyed. You are currently living in a chapter. That's all. It is not the whole story. So don't make a permanent decision about your life based on a temporary season. Don't say, my life will always be like this. Don't say, nothing will ever change. Don't say, I will never get my opportunity. Don't say, I will never find peace. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, and neither do the people who have underestimated you. They may look at your current situation and think they know your future, but they don't. Only God knows what is ahead. Chosen one. There is a reason you have been learning patience. There is a reason you have been forced to slow down. There is a reason certain people are no longer around you. There is a reason some plans didn't work. There is a reason you had to start again. You may not understand it today, but one day you will. One day you will look back and say, now I understand why that door closed. Now I understand why that person left. Now I understand why I had to wait. Now I understand why God didn't give me what I asked for. And that realization will change everything. Because sometimes, God doesn't protect you by giving you what you want. Sometimes He protects you by refusing to give it to you. You may have prayed for something with all your heart, but God knew what would happen if you received it too early. Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe the environment wasn't right. Maybe the people around you weren't right. Maybe the opportunity would have taken you away from your purpose. Maybe what looked like a blessing would have become a burden. So God said, wait. And you thought, why? But heaven knew. Chosen one. You don't have to understand every delay to trust the one who controls the timing. A farmer doesn't dig up a seed every morning to check whether it is growing. He plants it. He waters it. He waits. He trusts the process. And eventually, something appears. Your life can be the same. You may be planting right now. Your hard work is a seed. Your discipline is a seed. Your prayers are a seed. Your patience is a seed. Your sacrifices are seeds. And just because you don't see the harvest yet, doesn't mean nothing is happening beneath the surface. There are things developing that you cannot see. There are connections being created. There are lessons being learned. There are opportunities being prepared. There is a stronger version of you being built. And when the right moment arrives, everything can change quickly. Chosen one. Don't give up because the results are taking longer than you expected. Sometimes the biggest mistake people make is quitting during the final stage of preparation. They get tired. They become frustrated. They say, it's never going to happen. And they walk away. But what if they had waited just a little longer? What if the door was closer than they thought? What if the breakthrough was already being prepared? What if the delay was almost over? You don't know. That's why you keep going. Not because but because you believe the journey still has purpose. Chosen one. There will be moments when you feel like nobody believes in you. That's okay. You don't need everyone to believe. There was a time when people didn't understand your dreams. There was a time when people laughed at your plans. There was a time when someone made you feel like you weren't capable. But remember, people can only judge you based on what they see. God sees what you can become. They see your current position. God sees your potential. They see your mistakes. God sees your growth. They see your struggle. God sees your strength. Never allow someone's limited vision to become your limit. You are still becoming. You are still learning. You are still growing. Your story is not finished. Chosen one. Maybe you need to hear this today. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not finished. And you are not walking through this season for nothing. There is something this season is teaching you. Maybe it is patience. Maybe it is discipline. Maybe it is self-respect. Maybe it is faith. Maybe it is independence. Maybe it is wisdom. Whatever it is, hey, don't waste the lesson. Because the next version of your life will require the lessons you are learning right now. You cannot become the person you are meant to be without becoming different from who you used to be. And becoming different sometimes hurts. You have to release old habits, old fears, old relationships, old expectations, old versions of yourself. You have to stop returning to places that God is trying to move you away from. You have to stop begging for acceptance from people who never valued you. You have to stop chasing opportunities that repeatedly reject you. And you have to stop believing that one closed door means there are no doors left. There are more doors. There are more possibilities. There are more opportunities. There is more life ahead. Chosen one. The setback may have changed your direction, but it did not destroy your destination. Remember that. A wrong turn doesn't mean the journey is over. You can turn around. You can learn. You can begin again. You can rebuild. You can try again. And sometimes, the second attempt is stronger because now you have wisdom from the first. So don't be ashamed of starting again. Starting again doesn't mean you failed. It means you refused to stay down. And there is strength in that. Chosen one. One day you may look at the exact thing that once broke your heart and realize it became the reason you became stronger. The rejection made you work harder. The loneliness made you discover yourself. The failure made you learn. The betrayal made you wiser. The delay made you patient. The closed door forced you to find another path. And suddenly, what you once hated becomes something you are grateful for. That's when you'll understand. God wasn't destroying your life. He was redirecting it. He wasn't taking everything away. He was removing what couldn't go with you. He wasn't making you wait because he forgot you. He was preparing you. Chosen one. So don't panic when something doesn't go according to your plan. Sometimes God's plan looks like a detour before it looks like a destination. Trust the detour. Trust the process. Trust the timing. And most importantly, keep doing your part. Pray. Work, learn, grow, improve, stay consistent. Because faith doesn't mean sitting still and waiting for everything to happen. Faith means doing what you can while trusting God with what you cannot control. You have a responsibility too. Take the next step, even if it's small. One step today, another tomorrow, and another after that. Eventually, you will look back and realize how far you've come. Chosen one. Don't let one bad day convince you that you have a bad life. Don't let one failure convince you that you're a failure. Don't let one rejection convince you that you're unwanted. Don't let one person's opinion convince you that you have no value. And don't let one closed door convince you that God has no plan for you. Your life is bigger than one moment. Your future is bigger than one mistake. Your purpose is bigger than one disappointment. Keep going, because there is still more to come. There are still prayers to be answered. There are still lessons to learn. There are still opportunities to discover. There are still people you haven't met. There are still places you haven't seen. There are still dreams you haven't achieved. Your story is still unfolding. Chosen one. Maybe right now you're standing in a place where you can't see the next step. That's okay. You don't need the entire road. You only need enough faith to take the next step, and when you take it, the next one may become visible, then another, until one day, you realize you are standing somewhere you once prayed to reach. And you'll remember this season. You'll remember the uncertainty. You'll remember the nights you wondered if things would ever